Hello. Welcome to Self Care Sunday on Wednesday. I'm just going to wait until the camera thing is ready. Takes a few seconds. Well, while we're waiting, for those of you who are new here, I noticed a few new people popping in this week. My name is Tina Stinson, and I am a certified holistic health certified professional life coach and a culinary nutrition educator. And I focus mainly on plant-based nutrition. On this page, I focus on 11 different deep level self care practices, and I kind of talk about those things on an ongoing basis. So every week that I go live, I used to go live every Sunday, but I'm now switching it up to Wednesdays. And if you're not on my email list, I'll put a link so that you can get on my email list if you want to. What I do is I will send you the recording, the replay of the recording, so you could watch it at another time. So if Wednesday at 12 o'clock does not work for you, you could always watch it on this page at any time. I don't take them down, but I also put it on my YouTube page, and then I'll mail you a link to my YouTube channel so that you could watch it anytime. So I'll put a link underneath this video after I post it. So if you want to, you can get on my email list. You could also just go to my website, tinastinson.com, and grab any of my freebies there if you want, and then you'll just automatically be put on the email list. I didn't realize how freaking crazy my hair looks right now. It's because it's misty out. It's like I'm loving it because we had like straight sun, which felt like for like I felt like the whole summer I've never seen it this sunny where I live. Like I live on the top of a mountain and we usually have a lot of cloudy days. We've had straight sun for so long that we've had 3 rainy days in a row, and I'm just like loving every moment of it. I made like chili. It's cool too where I am. Let me see, what's the temperature I'll share with you. So I'm in like the western foothills of the Catskills, and it is 62. So it's cool and it's rainy. So I've been making things like chili and tomato sauce. I've been having a lot of fun with it. So anyway, I'm enjoying it. It's supposed to be bright and sunny tomorrow, and I'm gonna go for a run, and I'm gonna love it. It's supposed to be like the high is supposed to be 70. It's so perfect. So today we are going to be talking about how to handle relationships that no longer serve you. And one of the reasons that I wanted to talk about this is because it keeps really coming up, not only in my own life, but also in like friends, family, and clients. And it seems like a really big topic that a lot of people are dealing with. And one of the reasons, let me just check the time before I actually get started. Yeah, okay. I thought I was starting early. I don't want to start too early. Um, One of the reasons why I think this has been coming up is because when we were all, for the past couple of years, things have been kind of like disruptive on a continuous basis, which causes a lot of stress and anxiety in all of us. But also, when we all were kind of like forced to pause, like during, the pandemic, that it caused us to like really stop and like think about our priorities, where before that happened we were on like that hamster wheel of life, and we were like constantly like going and going and going and going and going, right? And so when you're like that, you don't really have a lot of time to acknowledge how you're feeling and to acknowledge whether you're doing things that are aligned with yourself, or you're just kind of like going through the motions. And so what that pause gave us the ability to do is really take a look at our lives. And a lot of us, a large majority of people, um, came to the conclusion that they weren't really happy, or they were overworked, overstressed, had a lot of anxiety. They weren't doing anything that they really liked or enjoyed. They weren't aligned with their values. Some people didn't even know what their values are, and so people started questioning what they were doing. And so what happens when people start questioning their values or changing their values or just acknowledging their values and saying, oh, I'm going to start changing the way I live my life. This is the perfect time to do it. And I feel like a lot of people took that step. A lot of people like woke up. They were like, it's almost like they were in some kind of hypnotic state of doing, constantly going, and going, right? And then they were like awakened almost, and they decided, okay, I'm going to do the things that I love. I'm going to focus more on this. I'm going to take better care of myself. I'm going to do this. So not everybody, but most people experience some like form of this, right? And so what happens when you start to change and you start to like um, acknowledge your core values, your deepest values, the things that are most important to you, how you feel, acknowledge how you're feeling, and acknowledge like what you're doing in your life. This is like my plant hanger. I'm like trying to get it out of the picture. There we go. Oh my goodness. Um, is what happens when we start doing that is we start to examine the relationships in our life, because a lot of times there's a lot of relationships that are in our life where we were also in like that hypnotic state and going through the motions and not really realizing that we're not aligned with this person anymore. Okay. Also, a lot of people's viewpoints, very strong viewpoints, came out into the open, and a lot of those viewpoints just like didn't match up anymore. So a lot of us experienced that kind of a split also. So I'm going to go through a few different examples of this, but I'm just going to look at my notes for a second because I don't want to like get off topic too much. So yes, okay, yeah, I'm back. I'm caught up with myself. So a lot of us spend a lot of our time doing things for other people, or like working for a corporation or working for another person, and we put in all so much work. Like we all heard of that term, quiet quitting, which is basically just setting boundaries and saying to overworking yourself. Um, so we've all like come to this like everything's coming to a head, and so we have a lot of these friendships that don't work. We collectively we decided, I'm going to change that. I'm going to start spending more time on things that are important to me. I'm going to really examine what my values are. And when we did this, it disrupted some of our relationships, whether it's romantic or friends or family. A lot of our relationships got disrupted during the past couple of years, right? So some of these wonderful people in our lives have shifted with us. Some people like experience the same thing, and that's wonderful. Like, so you may have some friends who are feeling the same things, and you've been able to like share your experiences with them. If you have this, then I would consider yourself really lucky that you have other people that you can talk to about these things. Um, but some other people might not see things from your perspective, or maybe things um, in this way at all. Like they might even think you're a little bit crazy. This is where some of the conflict might lie, and we're going to talk about today how we can move forward from this. So how do you know if you need to like end a relationship or distance yourself from a relationship or change the dynamics of that relationship? Well, most of all, the most important thing that you need to do is really ask yourself how you feel and like slow down and take that pause again, okay? Which is something we should do on a daily basis, but slow down and take that pause and really ask yourself, how do I feel about this relationship? How do I feel in this relationship? How does this relationship make me feel? And if it's like an energy sucker or an energy vampire, and when you with this person, it just sucks the life out of you. If there's always conflict with this person, always, there's nothing good, it's always conflict. Um, so just ask yourself some questions. Is there always conflict? Do you still have some kind of a connection with them? Do you share the same values, or at least some values? We're not always going to share all our values with every person that we spend time with. Do you find yourself always saying that I should or have to when you're pertaining to your doing things with this person? I should do this or I have to do this. And lastly, do you have resentment towards this person just because they're being themselves? Now, when I say being themselves, they're the same person that they were. Maybe they shifted in a different direction, but they're just being true to what they believe for themselves. So, like, being angry with this person because they don't agree with you isn't really the way to go. Try to look at it from the perspective that you've changed and then maybe they have changed also, and it's just a different perspective, and either it's going to be aligned or it's going to like not be aligned, right? And so it's nobody's fault, nobody's like the bad person, so to speak. Might feel a little differently, but I'm kind of being Switzerland on this, you know. So I wouldn't be too hard on yourself or the other person. At some point, you did share similar values, but something has changed and it's no one's fault, right? It's not really anyone's fault. Things change over time. You can't place blame on like one person for being themselves, you know. And somebody said this to me a long time ago. It was a friend. I can't remember who it was, but it was a friend, and she was also a coach. And I was talking about a relationship I was in where it was like on and off and on and off and on and off. And I was like, ugh. And I was always pissed off at this person because he was just doing all these things that just angered me. But he always did all these things. And she said, you're basically not being fair because you're getting mad at him for him being himself. And it was like some kind of like light bulb moment in my head when I realized that she was right. I was just mad at him and he was just being himself. It just wasn't aligned with me, and so I broke up with him like that same day. And he was like, what the fuck, you know. But my thought process was, he deserves someone who's going to accept him exactly how he is, and I deserve someone who is more aligned with me. And so it felt like a waste of time at that point. So, what this can look like. So, that was like one of the best um, pieces of advice that I ever got from anybody because I can apply that to every relationship. It's like most people over time, you know, like when you first meet someone or when you're first dating someone, they're kind of they're on their best behavior, but over time they're going to be themselves. And if that doesn't align with you, then it doesn't align with you. You can't like change a person or expect them to act a certain way or be a certain way or just automatically be aligned with you when they're with you. So that's not a very fair way to be in a relationship. And so that piece of advice just taught me a lesson that I needed to learn, and it was something that I carried forward with me. And you can apply it to friendships, you can apply it to like romantic relationships, but it's really true when you're looking at the person. If you're constantly getting angry with them because they're just doing what they always did, then I think you have to like re-examine, you know, whether they're just aligned with you and they're just being themselves. So, what this can also look like is a family member who has like toxic views, maybe that may be harmful to you or your family. You could decide to share your feelings with this person and see how they respond. Okay, so you're not going to know until you know. And if you're going to just sit there and make assumptions in your head, you know what they say about assumptions. Okay, it makes an ass of you and me. I mean, that's one of the oldest sayings, and it's so true. Assumptions um, it's just like one of the worst things that you could do. You could just be so wrong about certain things. And so, like, having the kindness and the bravery to talk to the person before you make the assumptions, or talk to the person before you decide to end a relationship, or talk to this person to try to save that relationship, right? So it's just the right thing to do. See how they respond. If nothing changes, then you can just decide not to spend time with that person anymore. Um, you might have to see them at times if it's a family member, but overall you have control over the time that's spent with them. Like I have a family member that I don't like to spend time with, and sometimes I have to see them, and it's fine. Like it's not like the end of the world, but I choose not to spend any time with them on purpose. Like if it happens accidentally, then it's fine, but I not on purpose. So because it's never been not toxic. So I made that decision. But overall, you have control over the majority of the time. Like I just said, like with my family member, you have control over that. Or it could also look like a friend or a romantic partner who doesn't support some of your new ways of thinking. Maybe your relationship was one-sided. Maybe you were doing most of the giving. Maybe you were like morphing into the person that they wanted you to be. Um, and maybe you weren't receiving much, and now that you've shifted a little bit and you realize that you deserve more and you're worthy of more, you expect them to be more. You expect them to be more of an equal partner, um, and they don't like that too much. So it's, once again, it starts with a conversation, and it's always difficult to start these conversations. But it's telling me I have a bad signal, and I do notice that it's like grainy kind of. But anyway, it always starts with that conversation. You have to start there, and sometimes just having the kindness, going into the conversation with not like aggressively, but with kindness and love, and think of that person, why you were involved with that person, why they were your friend, why they were your partner, and go in with kindness and see if it's something that can be resolved. You may be pleasantly surprised, you never know. Or you could just find out that this is the type of relationship this person likes to have, like make this one-sided relationship. Um, then you could just choose to like move away from it. Okay. So now I obviously know that this sometimes is not possible and easy to do. Like if you're married or if you live with this person, it's a gradual process, and you should really be sure that that's what you want. So, continuous conversations and different ways to like distance yourself from this person is how to get started. So you have to make a decision. Like basically, what best supports your wellness, both of you, right? Maybe ending the relationship, or maybe just spending less time with that person. So I know this is not possible if it's like a romantic partner or somebody you're married to or somebody you live with. It may be really difficult. But if it's a friend, you might still want to be friends with them, but maybe you need to like have some space between you, or maybe just be different type of friend, a different type of friendship, someone you don't spend a ton of time with, right? So obviously this can be quite different in some cases. There may be more involved. Like if you're in a marriage and you have kids, this can take a long time to move through something like this. I'm aware of that. I've done it myself. I've removed myself from a very um, verbally abusive marriage that I was in that relationship for 20 years. It didn't happen overnight. I'm aware of that. I had three kids, three young kids at the time. I understand the difficulties of this, but that doesn't mean it should be something that's like avoided completely. It's something that you want to reduce your stress, you want to reduce your anxiety, you want to have happiness, you want to have flow, you don't want to be tense, you want to be in good, healthy, supportive, fun relationships. So you have to create that for yourself. You're the only one that can create that. And by ignoring the state of a relationship, that it's not something that serves you anymore, by ignoring that, it doesn't help you move forward. You can't move forward. It's like you have to deal with it. It's like that shitty thing that you have to deal with, right? So, what I would suggest, the most important step, like when you're looking at these different relationships that you find conflicting, is um, like, how are you feeling about it? And don't wait. Like, really feel into it, see if it's something you want to change or end or move forward. Like, which one is it? And then work to do that. Like, ask yourself what you want, and then take baby steps towards creating that. So, like, yes, this is my friend. We don't seem to see eye to eye anymore, but I'm going to have a conversation with her and then see if we can move forward and still be friends, or see if we just don't have any values in common anymore, and like I don't really want to spend time with her. So so say like for instance you have nothing in common with any of your friends anymore, right? This has happened to a lot of people. So like if this has happened to you, I don't want you to feel like you're alone. This has happened to so many people over the past couple of years where they've had friends that were 10 years they've had this friend, 20 years, 30 years some people, and then all of a sudden they have nothing in common with this person to the point of they don't even want to talk to them anymore, right? And so most of these people are very sad about it with good reason, because you spent a majority of your adult life with these people. So the first thing to do is to talk to these friends and tell them how you're feeling. And like I said, you might be pleasantly surprised. They might feel the same way. Or they might have been afraid to open up. Like maybe their views have changed, but they're afraid to open up because they're afraid of losing their friends. So like sometimes just one person, opening up and having the bravery and the kindness to offer up how they're feeling can let the other person open up so that you could be really pleasantly surprised. But what I want you to let you know in these types of relationships is that it doesn't have to be some kind of big dramatic fight or break. It doesn't have to be that way. You could just have the talk and see if you're still aligned and work to either move forward or decide to like move apart. Um, you know what your values are, right? You honor them. If you don't know what your values are, then I would really, really encourage you to really think over what your values are. And I'll give you a way that you could do that, a way I can help you do that um, after I'm done. So you know what your values are. You honor them. You're at this moment. You're like looking at these relationships because you're honoring your values. Some of these relationships don't feel right anymore. So you're like looking at them and you're like, I don't know what to do. Like this is so weird. I don't feel aligned with anybody in my life anymore. What do I do about it? So you stay aligned with your values, stay the course, and you're going to repel the people who don't belong in your life anymore, and then you're going to attract the people who do. And it could be just that simple. It doesn't have to be like I said, this big dramatic break, this big dramatic fight, or anything like that. It could just be speaking your truth, being yourself 100% authentically, letting everybody know exactly what your values are and how you feel. And if they're not aligned with that, they're just going to move away from you. They're just going to be like, okay, whatever. Or they're going to be like, yeah, me too. Like 100%. I totally agree with you. So, like I said, you could be pleasantly surprised. But the more you are authentically you, the more your life is going to feel good and flow. And the more of the people that in your life will be aligned with you automatically. It's like you don't have to work at this. All you have to do is be yourself. It's the easiest thing to do. Being somebody else or being something you think want something you think people want you to be is hard freaking work. It's stressful. So it's so much easier to be yourself. It's just less stressful, less anxiety, and it makes everything fall into place. It's almost like all the puzzle pieces are messed up because you're not being yourself, and then all of a sudden you're yourself, and all the puzzle pieces just come together and everything is aligned. Okay, that's what happens when you step into your true authentic self. These transitions in our life can be super hard to deal with, but ignoring them just drags them out. You can't keep ignoring the way you feel. So handle it as soon as possible. You could either move forward and spend more time enjoying your life and not living in stress and anxiety. Um, you could, and as you move forward and move towards your true alignment, your true values, people will fall away, and you have to just learn to accept that. It could be scary at some times, but new people will come into your lives. New things, it makes space for new things to come in. So let me know if you've had to navigate anything like this over the past couple of years. I know a lot of people who have. Um, and if there's anything else that has worked for you that has been really eye-opening, like if you've had these conversations with friends or partners and they've turned out really good, or if you've had these conversations with people and like the relationship just kind of fell apart, like just kind of fell off, not fell apart, like slowly disintegrated, in a nice kind of easy way. Like I said, it doesn't have to be dramatic. Um, Remember to always check in with yourself, um, meaning see how you're feeling about things. One of the things I learned during when we all had to like pause for a little while is like this is something we should always be doing like every day. We should be checking in with ourselves and seeing how things feel and seeing if you're doing things in your life that actually are aligned with your values. Like some people realize and some people know that they're not spending most of their time on their core values. They're spending maybe, their weekends, and that's not how it's supposed to be. We're supposed to be able to spend most of our time on our core values. Yes, we have responsibilities and things that we have to do that we don't always want to. Doesn't mean that it's not aligned with our core values. It moves us towards those core values, sometimes our hard work, but it should be aligned. Okay. So I will see you next week. I'm not sure what the topic will be, but I might talk more about core values. Um, to start to, okay, so a way that I could help you with this, if you really need help lining up with your core values, um, to step forward, like living your life like in purpose and really being like intentional with your time. So like you look at your day and you see your to-do list or the things that you do throughout your whole day. You get up in the morning and you do this, this, and this, and this. And you, at the end of the day, you look at everything you've done, how much of that is aligned with your true, authentic self, your true values, what's important to you, what is most important to you. That's what your core values are. And so I'm doing this workshop. It's free. It's going to be a live workshop. It's going to be small. So once it reaches a certain amount of people, I'm thinking like 10, I'm going to like push the next, if there's more than that, if there's more interest, I'll make another date and do it again. But I'm going to keep it small because it's going to be live with me and I'm going to help you walk you through your core values and how to get started, how to like step into that type of living, like how to be aligned with your core values, be authentic with yourself, and like step towards all those things that you dreamed about, like all those things that light you up inside. Like you should wake up in the morning and be inspired and excited to do things. You shouldn't be like, oh, it's fucking Monday. Like you shouldn't like feel like that every day. And so that's what this is. This is like the starting point is learning what those core values are and then learning how to shift into that slowly with tiny little baby steps. So to do the workshop, I'll put a link below if you want to sign up for the workshop. It's a wait list. So what I'll do is when there's a certain amount of people on that wait list, I am going to, I already set a date. I'm going to do it September 21st at 12 p.m. It's going to be live. It's not going to be recorded. So if you can't make that date, I'll do another time. Just get on the wait list, and if you can't make that date, you don't have to show up. If there's still continued interest for this workshop, I'll continue to do it. So at some point, I'll figure out what a good time for everybody is, and just do it then. So I can spend a whole week talking about this topic. I'm telling you, you can go so much deeper. Navigating relationships in your life can be really difficult. So this was like a quick talk. I'm not sure how long I've been on here. There's no like timer anywhere. Um, oh, my phone's right here. So yeah, I've been only talking for like a half hour. But if you need help navigating relationships and really figuring this out and trying to learn to move forward, and you need some support, you need like a mentor, I'll give you a link where you could set up a call if you're interested in working with me in a mentorship. I could help you with that. I could help you write out your core values and navigate these difficult relationships. So I'll put a link for the workshop and then I'll put a link to set up a private call if you're interested in a mentorship. So they'll both be in the comments. And if you have any questions about this topic today, just like a quick question, you could post it in the comments or you could also just send me an email. Like I said, I always put this on my YouTube. You could rewatch it there. And then I email it out to everybody, so you could always just respond to the email. Yeah, get on the email list so that you can get these recordings sent to your inbox. So you don't have to go on Facebook or you don't have to go on YouTube. You could just have them right here. Okay. Well, let me restate that because when I send you it through email, it does link you to YouTube, so you would have to go to YouTube. So I apologize for that. But some people don't want to go on Facebook, and that's one of the reasons why I started the YouTube channel was so that people could watch it that aren't on Facebook. Okay. All right. So I hope this was helpful to you. Like I said, if you have questions, just reach out. You know where to find me. I'll put the links below that I told you about, and I will see you next Wednesday. Oh, yeah, and to talk about that. And so I know this group is called Self Care Sunday, and I'm going to leave the group name for now. I'm not changing the group name because, I mean, that's how it all started, right? My I started Self Care Sunday like ages ago when I first became, my God, I think I started it when I was just a health coach. Um, but I've been doing it for a really long time. I think it was started as a blog and then it went into the lives. And then I started the podcast, which is called Soul Aligned Self Care. And I'm going to change the YouTube channel to Soul Aligned Self Care. The YouTube channel is called Tina Stinson Wellness, but um, the recordings are labeled Self Care Sunday. So I'm going to change that, but I'm going to leave this as is. It's a new group. It's very basic. You know, I pop on here and I go live once a week. You could ask any questions that you like. Every once in a while, I post an article or something that I think will be helpful. And I do everything, all the topics are going to go into deep level self care. Okay. And so that is always going to remain the same. The only difference is that I'm going to go live on Wednesday instead of Sunday. That's it. My work days are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. I do coaching calls sometimes on Mondays. Um, but I'm trying to like stick with my schedule and really do what I teach, which is set boundaries and stay in my work schedule. That's what I wanted to create for myself. So I'm kind of trying to stick to that and put everything that I do into those 3 days. Okay. So that's why I decided to do the recordings on Wednesdays. So I hope that that's okay with you. Most people always watch the recordings, so I didn't think it would be a big deal. So I will see you next Wednesday, most likely at 12 o'clock, but I will announce it on here when I'll be going live. Um, don't be afraid to reach out if you have any questions because I'm definitely here to help. I'm not like the typical Facebook group person that doesn't respond to anything personally. Like, I want to connect with you guys. I want to be able to help you. That's why I'm doing this. So, it's my goal is to like help everybody like really reconnect with their true genuine self and align with their core values and like live into their purpose. And when I say live into their purpose, what I mean is like all those dreams that you have like inside of you that you think you can't access or you can't have depending like you, and I'm sure you have all these different reasons that you tell yourself you can't have these dreams, like I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm not educated enough, I don't have enough money. Like these are things that you can have. You just have to decide. And so like my goal is to help people step into that and really be uber focused on their core values and to be able to live their life in a more like in more flow and happiness and less stress and anxiety. So that's my goal, is to help you with that. So feel free to reach out if you need me. Okay, I'm going to hop off now and I'll be here next Wednesday. I'll talk soon. Bye.